The modern truck market is a total disaster. You're being asked to pay $70,000 for a rolling computer with a tiny, overstressed engine and a dashboard full of screens that will fail the day your warranty ends. In 23 years of turning wrenches, I've seen more crying in my shop over luxury trucks than anything else. But if you stop chasing status and start looking at the engineering, there are three trucks that are virtually indestructible. Pickups you buy once and drive for the rest of your life. After 2 decades under the hood, I've learned that the best truck isn't the one with the most horsepower or the biggest screen. It's the one that starts every single morning without a second thought. Today, I'm counting down the 3 most over-engineered, bulletproof pickups ever built. I'm going deepest on my #1 pick because it's the last of the simple V8 giants. If you want a truck that works as hard as you do and keeps your retirement fund in the bank, you cannot ignore these. Let's get into it. Number 3 is the first-generation Toyota Tundra. Now, I know some of you are purists who only buy domestic, but hear me out from a mechanic's perspective. I had a client, a retired carpenter named Dave, who bought a 2004 Tundra with 150,000 miles for $9,000. His friends laughed because it was too small. 10 years later, Dave is at 350,000 miles, and his total repair bill, outside of maintenance, has been exactly $0. The stigma here is that it's not a real full-size truck. It's a bit narrower than a modern Ford, and it won't tow a 40-foot trailer. But if you're hauling wood, tools, or a boat, it's all the truck you'll ever need. The secret is the 4.7-liter I-Force V8. This engine is legendary because it was derived from a heavy-duty SUV platform built for extreme durability. When they put it in a truck, they over-engineered it so much that hitting 300,000 miles is common, and much higher mileage is absolutely possible with proper maintenance. What people don't realize is that this was the last era where Toyota built a truck to a standard, not a price point. Everything from the door hinges to the seat frames feels heavier and more substantial than a modern truck. You're not just buying an engine, you're buying a chassis that was designed to handle the abuse of a worksite for 25 years. For the non-mechanics, here's the insider check. These trucks have a timing belt, not a chain. That means every 90,000 miles, you need to spend about $800 to replace it. It's a mandatory piece of maintenance. If it breaks, it can leave you stranded and cause serious damage. Also, look at the frame, specifically where the rear leaf springs attach. In salt-heavy states, these frames were known for rust. If the frame is solid and the timing belt is fresh, you've found a truck that will outlive most of the people watching this video. You can find a clean one for under $12,000, and it will be the last truck you ever need to buy. But if you need something with a bit more old-school grit and even more space, you need to see this next Ford. It's the peak of 90s toughness. Number 2 is the 9th generation Ford F-150, often called the OBS, or Old Body Style. I had a guy named Frank come in last week with a 1995 F-150 with a straight-six engine. He's had it since new. He has 420,000 miles on the clock, and the engine has never been opened. Not once. While guys with 2022 Fords are waiting 3 months for back-ordered computer chips, Frank is out there getting work done. The stigma is strictly age. People think a 30-year-old truck is a project, not a daily driver. But here's the mechanic's truth. This truck was built when Ford's priority was serviceability. Everything is easy to reach. There are no complicated turbos and no sensors that require a proprietary $10,000 computer to reset. You can fix most things on this truck with a basic set of sockets and a Saturday afternoon. In a world where modern EcoBoost engines can require major disassembly for certain repairs, the OBS Ford is a mechanic's dream. The layman check for this one. You want the 4.9-liter inline-six engine. It's not the fastest, but it has more low-end grunt than most V8s. And it is the closest thing to a tractor engine ever put in a pickup. Look at the dual fuel tanks. Make sure the switch on the dash actually works between them. Also, check the radius arm bushings in the front suspension. If you hear a clunk over bumps, it's a $50 rubber part that takes an hour to swap. You buy this truck for $6,000, spend $2,000 making it perfect, and you have a vehicle that will still be running when your grandkids are driving. The Ford is a legend. But my number one pick is a truck that literally forced the competition to change how they built engines, because it was just too good. And finally, number one, the GMT 800 platform. The 1999 to 2006 Chevrolet Silverado. In my shop, we call this the gold standard. I had a client, Arthur, who bought his 2003 Silverado 1500 brand new. He's a masonry contractor. That truck has been loaded with bricks and mortar every single day for 20 years. He just crossed 365,500 miles. The only major repair he's ever had? A fuel pump and a set of brake lines. The stigma is that it's just an old Chevy, and the interior is a bit plasticky. But let's be honest, are you buying a truck for the soft touch dashboard? Or are you buying it because the engine is immortal? This truck uses the LS-based V8, usually the 4.8 liter or the 5.3 liter. These are the most reliable V8 engines ever put into a pickup. They don't have active fuel management. That's the modern system that shuts off cylinders to save gas, but ends up destroying the lifters and the engine. These GMT 800 trucks are the absolute sweet spot of technology. They have fuel injection and modern safety, but they lack the overcomplicated systems that make new trucks so expensive to own. By the way, if you see a GMC Sierra from these same years, it's the exact same truck. Grab it. For the average buyer, here is the insider check. These trucks are famous for two things: rusty brake lines and knock sensors. If the check engine light is on, it's often just an inexpensive sensor under the intake manifold, but it does require a few hours of labor to access. And if you live in a cold climate, spend the $500 to have a shop install stainless steel brake lines. Once you do that, the truck is basically bulletproof. You can find a clean, well-maintained Silverado from this era for $8,000 to $10,000. It won't have a giant tablet in the dash, but it will have a simple transmission that's relatively inexpensive to repair, and an engine that doesn't burn oil. When you buy one of these, you aren't just buying a truck. You're buying freedom from a car payment. You're letting the other guys pay $800 a month for a truck that loses 20% of its value every year, while you're driving the most reliable piece of machinery on the road. Don't let the shiny new trucks at the dealership fool you. These three are the only ones I'd trust for the long haul.